Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. If you really want to understand the dark, unforgiving, and frankly brutal reality of the business of professional football, well, you are in the exact right place. Before we pull back the curtain on today's unprecedented breakdown, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, like this explainer, drop your thoughts in the comments, and seriously, support the channel by becoming a channel member. It lets us keep doing these deep dives for you. Because today, we aren't just looking at your run-of-the-mill roster move. No, we are looking at an execution, a premeditated, calculated erasure of a rising star in this league. This is the chilling reality of how the NFL truly operates when the cameras stop rolling, the stadium lights shut off, and the front office locks the doors to the war room. It's cutthroat, it's cold, and we're going to break down every single piece of it. Let's dive in.
18. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. 18. In the National Football League, starting 18 games across 2 consecutive seasons is supposed to mean something, right? Think about the physical toll of that, the countless hours locked in a dark film room, the absolute misery of the ice tubs. Honestly, just the survival rate of making it through a single Sunday in the NFL is insanely low. So 18 starts, that is supposed to represent trust from your coaching staff. It's supposed to represent a solid, undeniable foundation. It's supposed to mean that you've survived the absolute hardest part of establishing a professional career, and you've proven you belong. But as we're about to uncover today, 18 starts mean absolutely zero when a new regime takes the reins. It literally becomes a ghost statistic, a meaningless relic of a past that the new architects of a franchise just want to bury deep, deep in the desert sand.
I want you to picture the scene. It's Las Vegas, the second day of May minicamp. The dry desert heat is just starting to set in over the practice facility. Now, we really need to understand what rookie minicamp actually is. This is a time exclusively meant for the undrafted kids. You know, the tryout bodies wearing those oversized practice jerseys with absolutely no names on the back. The wide-eyed rookies fresh out of college who are literally just trying to figure out which way to run around the agility bags and how to read an NFL playbook without completely spinning out. It's an orientation, it's incredibly low stakes, it is absolutely unequivocally not the venue for veteran executions. But somewhere between the individual drills and the water breaks, the Las Vegas Raiders pulled Charles Snowden aside and unceremoniously handed him his walking papers. Gone. Poof. Erased before the weekend was even over. And the timing here? The timing alone is just completely sinister. This wasn't training camp in late summer. This wasn't that chaotic final cut-down day in August when veterans usually get squeezed out of the numbers game. This was
Section 1. The minicamp execution.
To truly understand the sheer brutality of this front office decision, we have to do a full forensic breakdown of exactly why a rising, productive player was cut down right in the absolute prime of his developmental arc. And it starts with the raw data. These numbers, they tell the story of a player on a massive upward ascent. Look at the tape, look at the metrics here. In 2025, Charles Snowden posted career highs across the absolute board. 3 sacks, now I hear you, that doesn't sound like a Hall of Fame number on the surface, but it was exactly double his 1.5 sacks from 2024. That is tangible progress. He generated 11 total pressures, consistently forcing quarterbacks off their spots. He was trusted with over 320 defensive snaps for the second straight season. That means the defensive play callers relied on him down after grueling down. And crucially, look at this. Pro Football Focus graded him at a 70.5 overall. That specific grade ranked him as the 44th best edge rusher in the entire National Football League. That puts him securely, without a doubt, in the upper half of rotational rushers. Solid, reliable, getting better every week. In any normal meritocracy, this resume screams, keep building with this guy. You retain this player. But the Raiders' decision to completely discard him like yesterday's trash, it makes the entire operation feel incredibly cold-blooded.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the human element of the NFL grind. Because Charles Snowden wasn't handed a single thing in his career. He didn't have the luxury of first-round draft capital. He didn't have massive guaranteed money or a giant signing bonus to serve as a shield against the waiver wire. On the left side here, you see exactly where he started. Signed by the Chicago Bears as an undrafted free agent back in 2022. And he was waived by August. A total cast-off. Just another forgotten name passed over by the league. But he didn't quit. He clawed his way back. He fought through the grueling, unseen reality of practice squads, week by agonizing week, until he finally surfaced in Las Vegas in 2024. He earned 9 starts that year, and then he proved it wasn't a fluke, earning 9 more starts in 2025. 31 total appearances, 67 tackles, an interception. This kind of gritty, grinding climb, that usually earns a player deep, unwavering respect in an NFL locker room. It usually earns them at least a fighting chance to defend their job in a training camp competition. But Snowden, He never even got to step into the ring.
Section 2. A ruthless regime change. So now we are shifting our focus from the player sweating on the field to the executive sitting in the air-conditioned war room. Because let's be crystal clear, this cut was not about football, not even a little bit. This was about philosophy. Let's set the context for you. The Las Vegas Raiders were coming off an absolute unmitigated disaster, a devastating 3-14 season that mercifully ended with the firing of Pete Carroll after just a single, incredibly chaotic one-year stint. When a building is burned to the ground like that, the new owners want to bring in their own furniture, right? They want to completely tear up the foundation and pour their own concrete. Enter first-time head coach Clint Kubiak, and alongside him, his newly promoted defensive coordinator, Rob Leonard. Leonard was quietly one of the absolute biggest, most consequential moves of the offseason for Las Vegas. And you better believe, as soon as Leonard put his name on that office door, a very loud clock started ticking for anyone who didn't perfectly, flawlessly fit his exact microscopic vision of what a defense should look like.
The absolute crux of this whole situation lies in the microscopic details of Rob Leonard's defensive shift. I want you to look at the stark contrast here. Under Pete Carroll, the Raiders ran a very traditional 4-3 base scheme. They wanted big, bulky, power-driven defensive ends, guys who could drop their center of gravity, anchor the edge against the run game, and just eat up double teams. That was Charles Snowden's exact prototype. But Rob Leonard, he came in and completely ripped out the floorboards. He installed a 3-4 versatile defense. And in a modern 3-4, there is absolutely zero room for a bulky, heavy defensive end playing on the edge. Leonard demanded edge rushers who were slimmer, twitchy, and blazing fast. He needed players who possessed the hip fluidity to instantly drop into flat coverage or pin their ears back and rush the passer with explosive, track star speed. And just like that, literally in the blink of an eye, Charles Snowden's 18 starts and incredibly reliable run defense became entirely irrelevant. He was a massive square peg, and Rod Leonard had just ordered a giant shipment of round holes. He became instantly obsolete.
Section 3. The premeditated timeline.
Listen to me carefully here. Charles Snowden wasn't cut because he had a bad minicamp practice. He didn't drop a crucial ball, he didn't oversleep and miss a film session, or blow an assignment on the practice field. No. He was a dead man walking for months. Trace the exact timeline of his demise with me, because this is exactly how a front office systematically dismantles a player's career behind the scenes. Step 1. March 2026. The new regime dips deep into their free agency war chest and signs veteran pass rusher Kwity Paye. Step 2. April 2026. The NFL draft rolls around. Las Vegas uses the 67th overall pick. We are talking premium, high-value third-round draft capital here, to select edge rusher Kieran Crawford out of Auburn. Step 3. May 2026. Minicamp opens, and Charles Snowden is officially waived. 3 moves. 3 months. It was the slow, methodical tightening of a noose. Each and every one of those transactions meticulously pushed Snowden further and further down a depth chart he couldn't even see changing. That release in May, it was just the paperwork finally catching up to the brutal reality that was decided way back in the winter.
And hey, if you want concrete, undeniable proof that the decision was made all the way back in March, you literally just have to follow the money. $48 million. That is the massive 3-year contract handed to Kwity Paye. And more importantly, if we look closely at the structure of that deal, it came with $32 million fully guaranteed at signing. Guys, you do not hand a player with 74 career starts and 30.5 career sacks $32 million guaranteed to just come in and compete for a job in July. That is absolutely not how the NFL salary cap works. You hand him that money to take the job immediately. From the very second the ink dried on Paye's contract, the guillotine was raised high over Snowden's head.
But wait, it goes even deeper than Kwity Paye, because here is the shocking behind-the-scenes detail that completely reframes this entire offseason and shows you just how utterly ruthless Clint Kubiak's front office was being. On March 6, 2026, the Las Vegas Raiders actually agreed to trade the undisputed face of their entire franchise. 5-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Max Crosby was agreed to be sent to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for 2 first-round picks. Now yes, that blockbuster deal ultimately fell through due to a failed physical, which voided the trade, but the intent? The intent was deafening. The front office was desperately trying to wipe the slate entirely clean. They were actively seeking cheaper, newer, scheme-specific bodies across the entire board. Snowden wasn't just surplus before that massive pivot. After the Crosby trade fell through, leaving Las Vegas with a massive contract on the books they clearly tried to offload, Snowden became the collateral damage of a front office that was absolutely desperate to make their mark and save cash wherever they humanly could.
Section 4. The new defensive prototype.
We really need to zoom out for a second, because this single execution of Charles Snowden fits into a much larger, Frankly, league-altering roster rebuild orchestrated by general manager Spytek and defensive coordinator Rob Leonard. Let's meticulously break down each required profile of this brand new defense, position by position. First up, versatile linebackers. Leonard needs elite, top-tier athletes who can shoot the A-gap on a blitz and then turn around and cover a tight end down the seams seamlessly. So what did they do? They aggressively went out and acquired Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. Second, the edge rushers. As we discussed, absolutely zero bulk allowed. Slimmer movers only. To achieve this, they literally traded away former high-round draft pick Tyree Wilson, and they waived Charles Snowden, clearing the runway entirely for Kwity Paye and rookie Kieran Crawford. Third, the secondary. Fast athletic corners, long rangy athletes who can hold up in space and cover for just a few extra seconds while the new, much lighter pass rush gets home. They've invested heavily here, bringing in Darian Porter, Hezekiah Masses, and Jermod McCoy. This isn't a retool. It is a complete, fundamental DNA-level teardown of the defense.
And the final nail in the coffin? The return of Malcolm Koonce. Koonce very quietly re-signed with the Raiders in March. Now, Koonce missed all of the 2024 season with a pretty severe knee injury, which is exactly why some people kind of forgot about him. But if you look at his last 2 active seasons before the injury, he racked up 12.5 sacks. Re-signing Koonce provided Rob Leonard with exactly what he wanted, a proven, twitchy, scheme-fitting pass rush anchor to put on the complete opposite side of Kwity Paye. That specific pairing, Paye on one side, Koonce on the other side, sealed Snowden's fate permanently. The room was officially full. The puzzle was complete, and there were no pieces left over.
Which brings us right back around to that fateful, sweltering weekend in May. Just look at this list. It honestly reads like a tragic roll call of discarded NFL talent. Out, defensive end Charles Snowden. Out, guard McClendon Curtis. Out, guard Layden Robinson. Out, tight end Matt Lauder. 4 established veteran players who had carved out real roles for themselves in this league. Erased in a single afternoon. And I want you to see who replaced them on the 90-man roster. 4 completely undrafted tryout bodies. Devin Perkins, Nicholas Henning, Patrick Gerd, Kamar Missouri. The Raiders didn't just cut veterans, they replaced them with absolute unknown tryout players. Kids who just a week prior were praying for an invite. Why? Actually, scratch that. We know why. Just to send a chilling psychological message to the rest of the locker room. Nobody from the old regime is safe. Not a single job in this building is secure.
Section 5. A chilling league precedent.
You see, this isn't just about the Las Vegas Raiders anymore. This is exactly why every single veteran player in the National Football League and every single sports agent currently negotiating a contract should be utterly terrified of what just happened in the desert. Regime confidence over merit. Let that sink in for a second. The insider reports detailing the cut didn't say Snowden was released because he underperformed in the offseason lifting program. They didn't say he was a liability in the run game or that he was struggling to digest the new playbook. The reports explicitly, clearly stated that the front office felt confident in their group of defensive ends without him. Think about the sheer unadulterated hubris of that. They cut a highly productive, steadily improving player simply because they felt they could get by without him, because he wasn't their handpicked guy. Merit, statistics, PFF grades, they were completely, totally overridden by a new regime that was just confident in its own tailored replacements.
Welcome to the brutal new NFL math. A 100% sack improvement year over year means absolutely nothing against regime loyalty anymore. If a new coaching staff is hired and they immediately sign a high-priced free agent at your position and then they go and use premium draft capital on a rookie at your position, guess what? Your production has an expiration date. The old, romanticized myth of the NFL meritocracy, that fundamental idea that the best players simply play on Sunday regardless of where they came from or who drafted them, was just entirely shattered in Las Vegas. If they didn't pick you, if they didn't draft you or sign you to a brand new deal, you are literally living on borrowed time. Every single agent in the league is going to be citing the Charles Snowden execution in free agent negotiations for the next decade, demanding heavier guarantees up front.
Section 6. The open market awaits.
So what happens next? Charles Snowden is now floating out there on the waiver wire carrying a highly respectable career line of 4.5 total sacks, 67 tackles, 18 starts, and you better believe a massive, massive chip on his shoulder. He is 26 years old, completely healthy, and entering his absolute physical prime. And look at the narrative symmetry here. Could a Chicago Bears reunion be on the horizon? Remember, Chicago is the exact team that originally signed him as an undrafted free agent back in 2022. They know his relentless work ethic, they know his baseline capabilities. If Snowden lands in Chicago, or honestly, anywhere else in the league, and continues the upward trajectory he showcased in 2025, the narrative flips on Clint Kubiak and Rob Leonard incredibly fast. That is the hidden, incredibly dangerous gamble of a front office regime purge. When you discard a good, productive player strictly for the sake of scheme fit, you are betting your own professional credibility. Snowden's next sack won't just be a positive statistic for his new team. It will be a glaring, highly public indictment of the Las Vegas front office's talent evaluation.
Which leaves us with the ultimate lingering question we have to ask today. Did the Las Vegas Raiders just fire the exact wrong guy? I really want to hear from you on this one. Sound off in the comments below. Was this a harsh but entirely necessary casualty for Rob Leonard to establish his new 3-4 defense? Or did Las Vegas just hand a rising defensive star to a rival team for absolutely nothing in return? Which team do you think should claim Charles Snowden right now? Make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus, like this explainer, and definitely hit that join button to become a channel member to support the intense, deep dive analysis we bring to you here every single week. We don't just read the stat lines, we read the writing on the wall. Until next time, keep your eyes on the transaction wire, because in this league, everything changes in seconds.